Sinjuri, nselmilkom nilqakom għal programm ieħor ta' Flusek. Illum iż-żewġ mistiedna tagħna ħanamlu kuntatt magħhom permezz ta' kuntatt virtwali. L-ewwel mistieden tagħna huwa Sur Radi El Hay, il-kap eżekuttiv tal-R2 Software, li kumpanija kwotata fuq il-Borża ta' Malta li għadha kif ħabbret share issue. Fit-tieni parti tal-programm mbagħad ser nitkellmu ma' Denise Bezzina dwar claims fuq l-assikurazzjoni. Ser nibdew billi nagħmlu kuntatt virtwali ma' is-Sur Radi El Hay, kap eżekuttiv tal-R2 Software. Radi, how are you?
Thank you very much, Nicolette, and pleasure to be here today with you. Grazie ħafna.
Welcome to the program. Radi, can you give our viewers an overview of the business of your company?
Sure. So R2 is a payment technology company that provides a platform for processing of online and in-store payment transactions, as well as issuing of payment instruments like prepaid cards and online wallet, etc.
Okay, and with regards to the clients of RS2, who are the clients of RS2 and where are they located geographically?
So typically the clients of RS2 are financial organizations that provide payment services to merchant and consumer, such as banks, payment service providers, or independent sales organizations. We are an international company that has offices in Europe, Asia Pacific, North America, Latin America, and the Middle East. And the logic behind this presence today is that we have clients in these geographies. And in order to provide first-line support and services and to be close to the customer, we have local presence in these markets. So, in other words, we are a global organization today.
Can you elaborate on the business lines of the company and how the company has transformed over the past years?
Sure. So when we started the company 30 years ago, the business model can be described in a way similar to Microsoft old model, where the user of a laptop can buy a license to use Word and Excel from Microsoft and pay a one-time license to use that service. In the past, RS2 used to do the same thing for BankBox, which is our platform. We sell a license to the bank in order to allow them to issue cards for their customers and acquire payments transaction for their stores and website. And we used to charge a one-time license fee. That model has changed in 2013, and we decided to transform that into a subscription model, where the customer come to us and they ask us to provide them with certain services. And based on the service they require from us, or they need us to provide, we charge them a service fee based on different services. Like, for example, if we do settlement for them, we charge them a service for that. If they do authorization, if we take care of their merchant support, etc., they pay for that. And that one of the growing business line in the group, and we are focusing a lot on this. The third business line which we have built is what we call the merchant services, where RS2 will be directly involved in servicing the merchant as well as the cardholder. In other words, we will be providing support and services to merchants in store and on the web to acquire their transaction and settle these merchants. And we will be able also to issue certain payment instruments like prepaid cards, gift cards, loyalty cards, and wallets. And in order to do that, we need to have a financial institution license, which we have done, and we will be regulated very soon by the BaFin, which is the German regulator.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're passing through a pandemic, Radi. What impact did COVID-19 have on the company?
So I would say in every crisis there is always a good and a bad things. In the beginning of the pandemic, the business was almost on standstill due to the uncertainty our clients had, and they wanted really to wait and see how the situation will develop. On the other side, with the lockdown, RS2 triggered its business continuity, and we managed within days to transfer the work from the office to home across all our global offices with no interruption of the service and any impact on the client. It's also accelerated the need of the group to start integrating and digitalizing its internal system and processes, as well as digitalizing the communication with our client. During the second quarter, we have been faced with a huge demand from the clients to deliver what we have missed in the first quarter, generating thousands of mandates to be delivered before the end of the said year. So in general, I would say the pandemic, and thanks God, for our business, it was quite, I would say, encouraging to accelerate certain processes which we haven't done if the crisis wouldn't be there.
As we are saying, 2020 was a very difficult year for most companies. What are the financial projections for the company following such a difficult year?
So what we have done, and Nicolette, the market knows, we have been really investing heavily in our business in order to build the business lines which I described before. So if you see the impact which we had in 2020, that will be reflected in 21 basically by doubling our revenue. And I'm not talking here about any hockey sticks. I'm talking about projection which we have published anyway to the market for the pref shares, where 77% of that projection is based on existing business, 14% is new contracted business. That means the customer has an agreement with us and they are committed. And the third one is a 9%, which are based on a qualified pipeline, where we either in contract negotiation with the client, or we have a commitment from the client that they will join us, but we still don't have any agreement with them. So the projection based on the investment which we have been making in 2018 and the demand which we had in 2020, expanding into the United States, building our new merchant business line, etc., it's coming now into fruition. And as we publish our projection, we should be targeting 100 million revenue in the years to come, which in our business, if you look into it, how the market look into it, it's multiplying the value of the company to hit really $1 billion.
Radi, why did the company decide to issue preference shares, and who is eligible to apply for these shares?
So the reason for us issuing the pref shares first and foremost is really to protect the ordinary shareholder not to be diluted, and I will come to that later. But more importantly, is really to avoid any hostile takeover, because the more floated equity on the market, the danger of being taken over much higher. So we decided to go into the pref share. Everyone is eligible to have a pref share, including ordinary shareholder as well as new shareholders. And for that, we have secured in our extraordinary general meeting the preemption rights to do so.
Okay. And what will the proceeds from this share issue, what will they be used for?
So the proceed of the pref shares will continue to expand in Europe and the United States in particular, but of course increasing our sales force globally. We will continue to invest in our technology in order to make sure that we are offering an end-to-end solution to our clients, so they will not be depending on any third party to get certain services. And last but not least, we are having some M&A targets in mind, which will accelerate our entry to certain markets.
Considering that this issue is basically preference shares, what rights will the owners of the preference shares have when compared to ordinary shareholders?
So if you look to certain attributes, like for example, dividends, bonus shares, voting rights, capital distribution, let's keep the voting rights for aside. So dividends, bonus shares, capital distribution, preemption, and asset upon liquidation. The preference shareholders are pari passu with the ordinary shareholders. So basically it's the same. The only thing which we have done is to have one vote versus two votes for the ordinary shareholder. So there are certain outlined items in our M&A where we have said that the ordinary shareholders will have two voting rights versus one voting right for the pref shareholders. Nonetheless, I think from from both perspectives, when it's come to dividend, etc., in order to do certain incentive to our preferred shareholders in order to compensate their voting rights, we have given a minimum of 10% more dividends over the ordinary shareholders. And I would like to give some peace of mind for our estimate shareholders that myself, as a major shareholder of the ordinary shares, I'm participating heavily also in the pref shares as well.
Okay, good. Thank you, Radi, for that update on the company. Wish you luck with your share issue and augur you continued success for the future. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Nicolette. Pleasure to be with you today and looking forward to meet you again.
Thank you.
All the best. Stay safe.
Same to you. You too. Ser namlu waqfa qasira ta' ftit minuti għal riklami, ibqgħu magħna.